I don't want to die young here, thinking about how am I going to get this job possibly done.
You don't want to say, well, I know I'm on camera, I'm cheap.
First shot of the day, you've been sitting around for an hour waiting for anything to happen, then all of a sudden everything's going to happen.
Stand by. On action, you're walking towards us. Action! Funding for behind the scenes at This Old House is provided by...
Saturn is proud to bring you a portion of This Old House.
State Farm Insurance. Keeping our promise of protection to generation after generation. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
It may not look like a power tool, but Minwax's rich wood stains and clear protective finishes are made to give you the power to turn a house into a beautiful home. Minwax makes and keeps wood beautiful.
And by...
Your new home. Everything's perfect. Okay, not everything. After all, new homes have their share of unexpected surprises. Ace, your helpful hardware place.
This program was made possible by contributions to your PBS station from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Thomas, and welcome to a unique This Old House special. We're going to take you behind the scenes of our 23rd season and this project right here in Manchester, Massachusetts, and show you everything that goes into putting this program together. Now, the cameras began following us back in May 2001, just when the demolition phase was coming to an end.
You know, people think that we sort of pull up to the job site, jump out of the truck, and start shooting the show, and it's not like that at all. In fact, a lot of work goes into the making of the program. You have to spend a lot of time walking around the site, analyzing what's going on. It's not written down in exact language what we're going to say, and in some ways that makes it a tougher job to do because we have to develop that while we're here. Now that it's opened up, we find a lot of structural. I'm sort of the technical guy. When the architect is here, you know, he has to be able to and you never know when a piece of ductwork is going to come dropping out of the ceiling. And that's what makes it such a great show.
We took a tour of the house to get ready to film the season's third show. And not surprisingly, we didn't really know what we would find.
In a lifetime of putting together vague shows, this one was one of the vaguest, which sort of said 7 minutes in which we discuss what's been revealed through the demolition process. Somehow we're going to have to bring this to the show.
With a gentle pick?
This is getting opened up over to here because this wall goes up in a couple of columns. This wall goes away completely, it's all glass. We're basically brainstorming ideas to figure out the best solution for the homeowner and for the show.
Essentially, it's a deal that we make with the homeowners, which is we're going to invade your home and your privacy and pull up alongside this job that you're working on, and thus we get a TV show. And what you get is from the most material side of things, there's a lot of donated or discounted products, to the more sort of spiritual, which is you got Tommy and Norm and all of us working hard on your house, headed towards the same goal, which is a job well done, on time and on budget.
The balancing act is to keep good show content and keep a homeowner happy, and it is very tricky to do that.
Now this wall was added. We have at work here not only the builder, Tom Silver, but also the master carpenter, Norm Abram, and Steve Thomas, and Bruce Irvin, all of whom represent the design and feasibility matrix that needs to be satisfied before we should move forward. So what happens to these rooms? You go up a step?
This room here, you're going to step up one step.
7 inches?
7 to 8 inches.
As our tour continued, some serious issues surfaced. The house needed a lot of work, and Russ, our director, wasn't comfortable starting to film until we talked it all out.
We got a frame and a roof, but a lot of the roof is going to change. We got a frame, but a lot of the frame is going to be altered and fixed.
Well, because of there's a lot of problems with it.
Yeah. Another crazy question. Could you, in view of the amount of work that we're doing here, is there a way to lift the house? The sections that you're keeping, lighten it to whatever extent that you lighten it. Saw it off and jack it up.
You get a jacking company in here to basically lift the entire house.
Well, we've been at this for a while, and discussions about things that are going to happen on the job occur frequently.
I'm just afraid that if we spend all this time and money and then we end up with little crummy bedrooms, steps up into them, it will seem as though we didn't do enough.
And everyone has a different agenda when we're talking about issues like this. Here, the issue was the ceiling height. When that discussion was occurring, I know that Tommy was immediately going into panic mode. He's thinking, oh my, I'm going to have to do all this extra work. This is going to be more materials. It's going to be more time. We don't have enough time to do this job as it is.
Back down. But any way you look at it, whether you leave it or you jack it, it's a huge job. It's a huge job.
You know, I don't want to die young here, thinking about how am I going to get this job possibly done if we lift this whole house in the air and take out the entire first floor and restructure it. Can't happen, won't happen.
They're really being driven by David and Janet.
Now, Bruce, as a producer, he's saying, well, maybe that would be great in terms of TV because it would be so dramatic to see a big house like this jacked up. But I think, on the other hand, he's thinking a lot like Tommy. Oh my, we're going to lengthen this job by adding a whole process to gain what? A foot of height in the ceiling, or 6 or 8 inches?
Or leave the heights the way they are and forget it.
If you do that, and you've gone through a horrific alteration once more in this tired old building, and you still have a compromised building.
I think in an ideal world, you jack the house, rebuild the first floor, and get your ceiling height that way. And that way, when you walk into the house, it feels great everywhere on the first floor.
Yeah.
From my point of view, I was feeling what Tommy was going through. I was hearing what Russ was saying. And then I'm also thinking about the homeowner. I'm saying, well, if we raise this, there's going to be a lot of money. And I went aside and said to Tommy, how much more do you think it's going to cost if we raise this entire building?
Yeah, I was just thinking 150 to 250.
That's not our decision to make. That's the homeowner's decision to make when we start talking that kind of money. If it was mine, probably what I'd do right now, I'd live with the space the way it is. I wouldn't raise it or lower it. I think I could live with the ceiling at this height. That's what I would do.
One of the things that's going to happen is the roof is going to change. The detailing of the roof is going to change. So,
well, first what I like to do is to walk through it and see if we can see stuff happening.
Reduce this joist down to
You
about
can on the camera. Turn to me a little bit. About
2 by 2.
And I like to put the camera on it. But I don't want to say this is a keep or take because I don't want to be limited. I want to change stuff after this. You can just walk with me, Dino. I don't care. He's going to walk between the dumpsters. He's going to come up here.
We have filled 3 30-yard dumpsters. Once we've basically figured out a scene, a walkthrough with the camera helps us decide where to go and what to watch for.
It seems to be in pretty good shape.
Oh, wait a minute, Steve. You got to see it. Oh, well, no demolition in here yet.
No demolition in here.
Tommy, hold it. Let me give you positions, okay? You want to end up here. Norm, you want to peel and go. Okay? Steve, you take me deep and come back. Da-da-da. Boom. Come back to Tommy.
All right.
Hold it. Come back the other way. Turn to him. Yeah. Back to him. All right. All right, Dino? So you end up here. Steve, from the outside. Dino, all yours.
Just at this section of the house.
That's right, but you haven't seen anything yet in terms of demolition.
Oh, wow. Look at this.
Well, Tom, you and your crew have been very busy, mostly dismantling the place.
Yes, we have, Steve. Been real busy.
So what stays and what goes?
Well, actually, a lot goes and a little stays.
Well, give us the tour.
Well, let's start right here. This doorway becomes a larger doorway. This wall gets opened up and changed into a door.
And you can see here, Steve, that this was a patch. I mean, there's plywood and modern studs. This was probably done in the late 70s during that renovation.
That was pretty damn good.
7:36. Good. Okay, I'm going home. Thank you very much. We thought we couldn't do 7 minutes. Now we have too much show. Huh?
So we're over by
1:50.
one, but yeah,
But we're gonna go
then get
upstairs in 3 minutes, so we'll shave a minute off. all these
Are you
other
going
pieces.
again?
Norm.
Or we can take this and put it in the can.
The tour scene was done, but now we had to present a difficult building decision to the homeowners.
Never wear heels again.
We have a sell job. We've got to sell our, what we hope is a reasonable position to the architect in this case, to the homeowner, and to the builder. And we ourselves may have doubts. Now, we had about a 2-hour discussion this morning about the ceiling height. Yeah, trying to figure out what the options would be.
Well, one is jack the entire second floor up and insert whatever space you want. 35 feet.
Well, there you go.
2 is the one that you've been thinking about lately, is raise the ceiling, which then squishes the boys' room. Another one is drop, I guess that's what you were talking about a second, drop the floor.
Right.
But then we'd have that problem to step out of the
Another
floor.
legacy.
Which is
Another
just
legacy.
awesome.
That's the one that we like the least.
The fourth is don't do anything.
One of the advantages of having this old house involved is that you'll get many different opinions along the way. And sometimes you get some serendipitous things happening that actually enhance the design and bring in some new ideas and thoughts that might not otherwise be there if it wasn't for this whole crowd of people filming this operation.
The net of all of this, David? Yeah. It's by no means certain. It's wonderful. Good for us.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
get to leave. We get to drive
because we say, well, let us know, pal. We're going to Italy again.
For how long?
The disadvantage is we can kind of get bogged down on almost too many ideas. And at some point we have to get practical.
We're happy to listen to all these ideas, and if there's an idea in there we really want to capitalize on, we'll do that. But we'll wait till everyone's left, and then we'll talk to Tom, because we really don't have a lot of wiggle room in the budget. We've got to still stay with what we're doing, and then find out, what we really can do that's practical.
I think we finally come up with something that is really quite realistic, and quite frankly, it's what I first proposed to the client. And that is that we could get a feeling of greater height without having to do major structural change. And that's what we are going to do.
You'll play the part of the homeowner.
The former.
Steve, you're going to play the part of the architect.
Okay.
All right. The line was? That's
Just
what I
what I-
like to see.
Just what I like to see. The homeowner
With the ceiling decision made, we all worked together to tell the story to our television
duking
audience.
it out
Over
of
the
the final design issues. Well, what we wanted to do was to have the shape of room that we envisioned, and what this model helped show us was that it wasn't achieving what we originally envisioned.
What about the thing about standing in the...
All due respect, David, it doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot. What you're just saying.
Would we have that again?
Furthermore, the circumlocution office will be reviewing this in the future.
No, but you had an issue with something about hanging stuff, right?
Yes, we did.
All right.
Producers, maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, so we wanted more wall space and we wanted a bigger building. How does that sit with the architect?
How does that sit with the
Architect
architect,
says,
Steve?
I'm thrilled. This will get me back in the Harvard Design School because it balances this piece with that piece.
Right.
That's right. Okay? Right. All right, Dino. Get ready.
So I think it balances well with the other side of the house where we have another wing here.
All right. Any other issues? Well, yes, we've had a concern about the height of the ceiling in the family room and living room. And we were thinking about whether the addition of this porch would make it feel lower. And we were also concerned about the light that would drop down into it. So we asked Steve to work on some solutions for that.
I think one of the reasons for that is that we've got these glass doors that are very low, and that certainly does not enhance the feeling of height. And I think where we're going to push this area out in the form of a bow, it's going to give us more space too.
The feeling of more space.
Well, it actually will create more space, but we'll feel higher too.
Okay. Now, how do you feel about that possible solution, David?
Well, I think that if it achieves the result that we're looking for, which is the feeling of greater height, then we'll be very happy with it.
All right. Welcome back to our behind the scenes of This Old House special. We pick up the story of the Manchester house in June. The production schedule and the budget are on everyone's mind.
In the new understandings about how much people want to know, cost, we should let them know what this foundation costs. 65. So it's say $5 grand for the concrete.
We've got a curve in there, a $35 to $40 a lineal foot. We'll drop that to about $29,000. Keep it under. It's going to be less.
You make it up, don't you? You make your script up. The budget's a total tissue of lies.
To keep you quiet.
Yeah.
The biggest pressure on me of this job is the production schedule. It's always been tough to do, but we've always managed to do it. Hopefully, I'll do it this time. But this is the first one that I can honestly say out of many that I've done that looks like it's going to be tough.
The first shot of the day, you've been sitting around for an hour waiting for anything to happen, then all of a sudden everything's going to happen. I'm trying to get audio levels, trying to figure out what the shot's going to be.
We start over here, we walk along this edge, and it finishes over there. At all times, look, there's the train. And what are we doing?
We don't need a train.
We need a train. I want the train.
right.
I know we're going to end up without a train shot.
We will have trains.
We put a lot of pressure on this single camera technique. It's a job that requires a gifted individual, a person with good physical coordination, who can walk backwards carrying a heavy weight without fear. It's not for everybody. It's very difficult work. I need some energy, boys. I need some energy. You will not be fed unless the energy improves.
Technically, there are two things going on in my brain. In my left ear, I've got a headset so I can hear all the audio coming through the camera. That's everyone who's on microphone. That's any of the machines that they pick up and use.
It's a little bit of plaster work, not a big deal.
And then in my right ear, I've got Russ, who's the director, who's guiding me, telling me what to look for.
Stay up with it. Get in. Take it out. See it? See it?
There are three things going on. What we're looking at currently in the shot.
Existing windows, the rough openings will stay, a couple of new windows on the back facing.
What's going to be next, what's coming up.
Tilt up. Now Steve is going to be very concerned.
And then the overall picture, how we're going to finish the shots. We try to finish it with a dramatic shot that's going to tell the whole story.
As we film scenes throughout the house, David and Janet McHugh, the homeowners, are meeting with kitchen designer Ted Goodnow.
Well, drinking glasses could be over here, up above.
Yeah.
Cabinet should.
Right. The only thing we have to watch out for is if we're going to jump this up.
It's one thing to explain kitchen design to real people, but as Ted's about to find out, it's quite another to do it for the camera.
What can you tell us about the plan?
The kitchen
Now
starts.
walk under this beam.
Kitchen
As
starts.
we walk underneath the amazing beam.
An office where people can see what's happening at the front of the house, at the driveway.
Right.
A pantry, more of a larder for storage.
Right. And an
the
easy
kitchen itself.
access to the garage, right?
Easy access
But
to the
walk over
garage.
to it. I can't tell you how important this is. You know, I come from a theater background where you take actors and you make them into something that they're really not in real life. Into a field where now we take real people and put them before the camera and ask them to perform, if you will.
We have to get over there.
Ted, you were right on. With certain caveats, you get away with that. As long as you don't ask the plumber to give you Shakespeare's sonnet. Over here and the garage.
You're right, I blew
Gotta
that.
have it.
Okay, I blew that.
But it's good, it's good. You can ask an actor to do that, but you can't ask a plumber. But a plumber is very comfortable telling you what he does and how he feels about a certain tool, and maybe even a certain customer. He can work on that.
And access to the garage, which though not a great thing, has to be maintained right through this way.
Okay. So that's a big order. That's a big order.
But you got all the space.
But geez, you've got all the space in the world.
Well, it looks like that until you start getting it on paper.
That's what I want, all right? All right?
Yep.
Remember it.
No problem. On the other end of the space, we have this powder room that we're trying to maintain. It's clearly a given on this end.
The biggest thing that I would say is a surprise for me is that you really are there and you're on, and whatever tends to catch Russ's eye that's an interesting storyline gets developed into the whole process that the day is spent on.
I actually have one other project I'd like to take them on to show them some things that may help this process along, and you're welcome to come.
We'd love to tag along.
Nice. Way to go, Ted. That's good. David?
You just up, man. You just up.
Steve? All right, we got that done. Don't sit on your mics as we go to the next location.
Any kind of change is a big deal, but a structural change, boy, that puts panic in everybody's eyes and puts it in their mind. You know, you got to move a support post, you got to add to a steel beam. Wow, that's a big deal. Well, I like a big deal. I like solving problems. Now, if you look at it on the television end of it, the production people say, when you make a change, that adds time to the project. We don't have time. Hey, we got to be on the air at Thursday, 7 o'clock. Not next Thursday, this Thursday.
When you come to the site, you do have some ideas of what might happen, but it has a way of kind of taking its own course each day, and I like that. It's not a set-up situation. It's a very natural one.
What'd you bring us?
We got some original paneling from one of Arthur Little's houses.
Oh, I see. They're exactly the same.
Yeah.
So this is what you're proposing, however, for Norm to redo?
That's right.
Okay, great.
And then out at this opening, there's a cased opening with dentals and some big panels on each side. There's a lot of work here.
Oh, there is, yeah.
Well, if you get me some good working drawings for the shop, I can take a look at them and then I'll talk to Tommy about it.
Well, that'd be great.
Okay, that's the idea. Time.
One of our little tricks on this old house is to build a cheap mock-up so we can see how a space really feels before the homeowner commits to an expensive design. And we had concerns about the kitchen.
They ought to come up here, they ought to have a meal, they ought to see whether this design is going to work. I think they're spending a lot of time, they're going to spend a lot of time bumping into each other. Look at the length of this. There'd be no way to get around the other side.
We run into this every time. We really do.
If you put the refrigerator over there, it makes a better traffic pattern too, because the people who are going to come in and grab stuff out of the refrigerator when people are in the kitchen, they kind of got to navigate.
Now that we actually see the design, we're very unhappy with certain elements of it. I'm again surprised to see mahogany. It's going to be a dark kitchen. I mean, it's going to be dark. Not just now, before very long, we will be committed. I think we only have a few more seconds to make our protest about the existing kitchen, which nobody likes. Nobody on the team.
It's what they want. Bottom line is that it's what they want.
I don't know.
Well, as often happens, this behind-the-scenes dispute got worked into the show. Look, we had a meeting the other day about the final kitchen design, and I'm a little bit worried about a couple of points, Tom. One is the size of this island.
Despite our worries, the design stayed the same. But when the estimate for the kitchen cabinets came in, everyone was shocked, especially homeowner David McHugh.
I'm not talking 10-20%, it's coming in 70% above. We need to really change the whole basis of the way we're doing it. The first alternative is try to really work it out with this contractor as far as we possibly can and take it all the way to where he says I can't go any differently. And then if he says I can't do anything about this, then we'll have to look for another one.
I think there's a real question about whether we'll be significantly finished by the time we have to say goodbye, which is in the middle of March.
That's important.
It's all new window casings and whatnot, huh?
Everything.
Yeah.
It's going to take 4 to 5 weeks to get the windows.
Yeah.
Really, I think we should be in pretty good shape.
Hey, Steve. Action.
Well, Tom, let's see if it fits.
Quick. It's gonna fit, Steve.
He's going to block it this time. Go, 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 and then get release.
Flush here, dead against the slab, all the way along.
Right on the line there, Steve.
Tilt up, see
Great
Tommy?
trick. Perfect. You think Norm knows about that one?
Of course, where do you think I learned it from?
So what's the rest of the system?
Well, on top of the nailers, we're going to put a pressure-treated plywood, rigid foam, and tongue and groove subfloor.
And you'll never have to worry about rot. It'll be nice and comfortable.
And real strong.
Good system, Tommy.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Now that's how to television. Bravo, bravissimo.
One of the things I think that keeps the show fresh is the way we hammer out a script right on the spot.
Not owners, but stewards.
That is a noble, noble sentiment, you might say, but true.
Think about it, the number of families that have occupied this house.
What I was thinking is preserving it for the next generation.
Preserving it for the next generation and the next.
Writing in This Old House magazine, they call themselves the stewards, not owners of this old house.
Right.
And we were reminded of that continuity recently.
On that house we told you about.
On that house we told you about.
From Ipswich.
From Ipswich.
Boom.
Writing in a recent issue of This Old House magazine, our homeowners on this project, David and Janet McHugh, call themselves the stewards and not the owners of this old house. While we were describing David and Janet McHugh as the stewards of the Manchester house, they were feeling the pressure of our desire to maintain the authenticity of their shingle-style home.
They take the logic that you have, that we're restoring a shingle classic, and they say, how can you not do a wood roof and dormer? You know, how can you leave skylights there? I mean, you know, and they're right. And you kind of think, well, you know, I just can't afford to get to the third floor, okay? So they say, yeah, but you know, we can get the shingles donated, and you know, it will cost you a lot more if you come back 3 years, 5 years later and do it. And they're right, and they can help. And before long, you're on the third floor because you want to do the dormers and the shingles. Well, now you're doing the dormers and the shingles. You got to do all the rooms. And now you're doing the rooms, you've got to wire them, you've got to plumb them, you've got to do all of that stuff. Before long, what was going to be a 2 big floor project has become 2 big floors and a third floor. And that kind of logic, I think, happens throughout the house. You know, in a house like this, you hear Russ say, how can you do this way here? And you don't want to say, well, I know I'm on camera, I'm cheap. You know?
We got together with Bruce Irving and with the owners, and you know, we talked about how we were going to make this work. And at the end of the day, it was basically ended up being a little bit more of a compromise than I wanted to make. I wrote a little more off to marketing on this one than I wanted to. But I think that, you know, David wanted to make it work, I wanted to make it work, and frankly, I think the show wanted to make it work, so we just pounded through it.
Funding for behind the scenes at This Old House is provided by
A portion of This Old House is brought to you by Saturn.
State Farm Insurance. Keeping our promise of protection to generation after generation. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Thompson's Water Seal. The forces of nature are unrelenting. That's why Thompson's Water Seal is designed to protect your deck year-round. Thompson's Water Seal.
And by
Your new home. Everything's perfect. Okay, not everything. After all, new homes have their share of unexpected surprises. Ace, your helpful hardware place.
Here it is, October 31st, Halloween, and it is getting cold. And we're running a race against time here. I've got windows that haven't come yet. I've got moldings for the outside that haven't come yet. I mean, we've got deadlines to meet. It's going to be difficult if this stuff doesn't show up and the weather isn't a little more forgiving. We've got a challenge here.
Can I set the shot?
That's all over here, and then welcome back to our behind the scenes of This Old House special. We've decided to do some filming outside because it might be our last chance before a harsh New England winter sets in. And it's great to see how far the house has come.
Well, Steve, we are lucky that it is not snowing today.
Last voyage for this boat. She'll be up in the boatyard by this evening.
Hey, it's been a while. Look at the house.
It's coming. It is coming.
Well, it's a typical This Old House job. Last one in. Everything's got to be done in a big time hurry. The place is a mess, and we've got a short period of time. It's the middle of October already. So we've got a lot of work to do, and we don't know if we're going to get it done or not. This is going to be a granite field, 2x2 pieces of granite with a brick walk leading up to the front door.
Point to it. You got it right there. I mean, we're taking the trouble to look at this.
The one thing I would change in my next life is I'm going to be an excavator. I'm the first one on the job. I make a mess. They run out and throw a check on me, and I leave. Instead of being the last one in with no money left in the budget and cleaning up everyone else's mess.
Wait.
You know, it's a pretty incredible story how it's all turned out. I mean, maybe one of the reasons we all get along so well is we're all sons of contractors. Tommy's dad, Norm's, Russ, and my own. I mean, I'm a fourth generation plumbing and heating contractor. But only in America could we become, I don't know, TV stars or whatever you want to call us. It's a pretty amazing story. We joked around the house at Christmas. We didn't get regular toys. We got wrenches. We were told that that's what we were going to be. We were going to go into this craft. And I'm glad how it's all worked out. My father would be pretty proud. He's passed away, but he did the first season with us. And to see that we've gone on now 20-something years and there's no end in sight, and so to see what's happened, I think he'd be pretty proud.
This comes off the coil and wants to stay in the shape it was on the coil. Now, if you bend it around, if I bent it, and it wants to come back. In this case, if I bend it, it'll hold its shape. Well, what I also like is that it's got some memory, some form stability. If I bent this to make this connection going up into here, as you can see right here, it'll hold its shape.
I think of us as being part of an ongoing soap opera, and I hope that I get renewed every year so I don't get killed off.
I notice there's a whoops here. Why? We run out? We had to extend it?
Yeah, we just needed to go a little
light here, please.
Longer.
Couldn't stretch it that
Yeah,
let's focus. There's a beautiful vista. Okay, let's focus right here.
Yeah.
This is the Morash way.
There's a certain more things you can get away with if you use humor. I don't know, I provide some sense of levity. I can sneak some little digs in without seemingly getting fired.
Good morning, I'm Steve Thomas. Welcome back to This Old House. So, Rod?
It's bad enough when you're doing a project in your neighborhood and you don't want your neighbors to know how much money you're spending or what you're buying or what's going in this room and that room.
So the idea is you're going to put an access panel or something back here? So right.
Think of it, you're doing a project on This Old House. We've got millions of viewers, every one of them looking over your shoulder. Everyone is now knowing what you're going to put in that bathroom, what you're going to do in the bedroom, and how much it's going to cost.
Yes! Wonderful, boys. Wonderful. One take, we got it.
It's a fine line that you got to walk. And I tell the homeowner, you got to be ready for that kind of stuff. Hopefully they are.
The true discomfort has come when finances are discussed. And so all of a sudden, the world knows that you're doing a $1.4 million renovation. If that's the figure or not, it doesn't matter. It puts you in a category in people's minds. I mean, you get labeled.
As it turned out, the winter was mild, and that gave Tom a chance to catch up on the schedule.
Tom, this looks nice and crisp.
doesn't it?
Yeah, what do you think of the casing system?
Well, it doesn't matter what I think, Norm. This is
what the architects...
You could really feel the tension dissipating as we began showing our audience some of the detail work.
The fact that you have this plinth block. All right, okay. Too many grates. You like it too much. I want Mr. Doubting Norm. I want you to be not so sure. Little plastic things.
Yeah.
Norm, little plastic things my father would roll over in his grave. This is the way we teach people what to look for.
Yeah. I assume that there's some amazing machine that cuts the slot for these.
Absolutely. You want to see it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes when you come on the set and people who are not part of this family see Russ in action, they must think, boy, why the guy's having a horrible day. Why is he doing this?
Like this.
Keep going!
See you. Full counter.
The fact of the matter is, that's who he is, and he's not hating it at all. He's loving it.
You don't look that way. Forget that way. Turn this way.
How come I'm the only one?
Turn! Yes! Give him a hand. Yay!
So until next time, when I swear to get all of these guys in here, I'm Steve Thomas.
I'm Richard Louie.
I'm Tom Silva.
And I'm Norm Abram.
For this old house, you tell me you don't have a meeting.
My people. These are my people. Coming in. Geez, Joe, that looks pretty good.
We've come a long way in the last 3 months, from Luan models to the final kitchen.
We're worried in this room about dark. What's going to happen to this material as it ages?
It's going to achieve a little bit deeper amber shade than this, not significantly darker, but it will darken to a more gold range. We've actually selected the lighter range that one sees in mahogany.
You strike me as a man that can give me a paragraph or a sentence, and here we want just a sentence. It's going to darken, we'll do.
For the last several months, the kitchen has been a major topic of discussion. There have been meetings, plywood mock-ups, design changes, and today we finally begin to see the result. I'm worried about how dark these cabinets might get. How dark are they going to turn?
It will get darker, but we've started in the lighter range of the mahogany color.
Okay. Well, you still have quite a bit to do. Countertops and appliances, but you're off to a good start. Thanks again for helping us out with this one.
Certainly. Yes! Got it.
Great.
Good. Nice work. Nice work. That's good.
You can leave all those in place.
And it's lunch. That is. Good. On action, I want you to slowly come back and take the tension up. Then talk to Bruce, okay? Go. Up he goes now. Go see Steve. Go see Steve.
The technique to give it its integrity and its realness is something that I saw Russ doing. I appreciated how that was done.
Here in Manchester by the Sea.
In this age of extremely slick produced television, where every nanosecond an image is carefully managed, to have something just be what it is, the way this is just wonderful to see.
The last shoot day of the season is always a special one. Everyone's putting on the finishing touches. Party preparations are underway, and it's time to film our final tour. As we walked in the front door for the last time, it was really incredible to think how far we'd come in just 9 months. Just think back to a mere 9 months ago and look at the transformation.
I'm not a perfectionist, you know, but I'm not stupid.
I never said you were stupid. Strange, but not stupid.
Ah, the dream kitchen. This is the first time we've seen this space all finished up.
Let's go. Let us appreciate it slowly. Go ahead. Go ahead. You're getting tighter.
But you've done a terrific job of putting this together.
I had fun figuring it out.
It has been quite a transformation.
This last day of the job is always fun because I get to see the people and talk to the people that I don't have the time to do while I'm working. Everyone comes by and says hi, and I'm bent over digging a hole. Here I get to talk to them and say thanks and tell them what a great job they did to make this a beautiful house.
It's great to see all the final touches going on, and it's exciting to look back and say it's another season of this old house that we were able to create for people to enjoy.
It's like a family reunion, you know. We all get together and we look back at the last 9 months or so in this case and say, wow, do you remember what this place looked like when we started? And so it is like a celebration, a family celebration.
This one, we were told we weren't going to get it done. We were prepared to not get it done, and everybody gave that extra little bit. And so today is really the high point. We got it done.
It's great to see everybody here, everybody that helped out along the project. But it's amazing to see their face and they say, my gosh, you did it. It looks fantastic. And it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. We got through it, we made it, and the high point is today. It doesn't get any better than this. I don't know what to say, but...
To learn more about this and other projects, check out the latest issue of This Old House magazine. For a free trial issue, call 1-800-255-9424. Get behind-the-scenes reports, review product and service listings, and take a virtual tour of the latest This Old House project on our website at pbs.org or America Online keyword PBS.